Hi, this is Mark Malberg of Digital Metrology, and a common question we get is how do I do averaging of surface texture measurements with TraceBoss or TraceBoss Plus? So I have TraceBoss Plus open right now, and as you can see, it only handles one data set at a time. Now, if you have TraceBoss Plus, we can click the trophy and at least look at another data set. For example, a reference or a surface that we've liked in the past. We can see the parameters in the profile, but how do we actually average within a bore? For example, I want to take 6 measurements in a bore and average them, but TraceBoss only allows me to look at one at a time. Well, we can do this with Microsoft Excel. I've built a little Excel spreadsheet here to kind of prompt us through the measurement of cylinder bore 1. We'll do 2 locations at the top, 2 locations in the middle, and 2 locations in the bottom. We're going to use a feature inside TraceBoss or TraceBoss Plus where we can send the results right to a spreadsheet. Now, for the first send, I want you to place the cell selection just above the first row. So this will be important that the first time we do this, I'm going to put it above the title row. And let's watch what happens. So I have a measurement on the screen. I'll go to settings and verify that my export configuration is pointed to Excel. It's going to send to the active Excel cell. That's good, that's good. So let's go ahead and send these results. We'll be prompted to send the results. We get a chance here to make sure that those are the right numbers we want to send. If I click yes, those numbers now appear in Excel. Now my cursor or my cell selection was up here, and that filled in all of this information saying now that bore number 1 at the top on the intake side had an RA of this value, and we can see the rest of the parameter values over here. Now for the next one, I'm going to put the cursor right here in the next row. We'll go back to TraceBoss and make a measurement, and we can send those results to Excel, and they appeared in the proper place. If we keep doing this, I'll push this off to the side here so we can see it at the same time. If I, for example, use these as prompts, I'm currently sitting here at middle intake, so I'd move my gauge to the middle of the bore on the intake side and make a measurement. Send the results. We can see that it populated in Excel. If I make another measurement on the exhaust side, send the results. My spreadsheet is filling in as I go now. Every time I measure and send the results, it's filling in the spreadsheet. I'll measure one last time here and send those results. I've now filled in all of the information for cylinder bore number 1. Now the question was, how do we average? Well, we can do that in Excel by an equation or a formula. I'm going to type equals. So this cell, the result in this cell is going to equal the average of these cells right here. And I can drag that with my mouse. Now you notice there's an opening parenthesis right here. I'll put a closing one on it with my keyboard, and there's my average. Now I had already set this up as a bold field, but you can see by clicking bold here in Excel, I can make that bold. Now in Excel, we can extend that average across our other parameters by grabbing this little square on the corner of the cell and just dragging it over, and I'll go all the way over to the crosshatch angle, and there are our averages. So we've averaged all of the numbers in the bore. For example, the average of these RK values is 22 microinches. We can do the same thing for other cylinder bores. In fact, a fast way now would be to simply grab one of these averages and paste it in the same position below. Currently it's divided by 0 because there are no measurements there. Now, when we paste from TraceBoss into Excel, it's going to look upward from the current position to see if it can find TraceBoss titles. So now that I'm on this new block, it doesn't need to paste in the word source, the data source, the time, all the parameters, because they already live in that column. So as I move on to bore number 2, I'm going to put the cursor right here, right where I want the data. I'll make a measurement now at the top of bore number 2 and send those results to Excel. And as we see back in Excel, they appeared in exactly the right place. So using Excel to calculate our averages is a powerful tool. By the way, we now have an RA value, and we can see it here, and we can stretch the averaging for bore number 2 as well. So TraceBoss and TraceBoss Plus are made to be extremely friendly and extremely fast, but in doing so, it only handles one profile trace at a time. We can use Excel to handle those multiple profiles for us and actually compute our averages for us. If you have any questions about TraceBoss or surface texture in general, reach out to us at digitalmetrology.com. We love talking about this stuff.